This month has 5 Fridays. And for those of you who are paid weekly or bi-weekly, that means one extra paycheck. Keep watching so you can see 4 things you can do to make your money work for you. In most years, there are 4 months that will have 5 Fridays in them. But for 2021, there are 5 months with 5 Fridays. And we're not going to see that again until 2027. So this is a really unique opportunity to not only take advantage of the 4 months that we usually have with an extra week or paycheck, but we get even a bonus month to be able to do that as well. So coming out of a really rough 2020, there's a lot of opportunity here to put ourselves in a much better financial situation than we were in last year. Hopefully you watched last week's video about the 5 steps you can take to kickstart your financial journey. If not, make sure you go check that out right now and then come back to this video, because this is a segue from that video where I talked about in step 1, which was to calculate your total monthly income, about how people who are paid weekly or bi-weekly get extra paychecks a few months a year, and how you can use those extra paychecks to reach your financial goals faster. Coming off last week's video, you were challenged to make a budget that did not include these extra paychecks. Now, maybe depending on your income level, that meant that there wasn't much, if any, extra money left over for you to apply towards, expedited debt payoff or your retirement or sinking fund or even an emergency fund. And that's okay, because that's what these extra paychecks are going to help you do. The paychecks that you receive all 12 months of the year, that's what you have focused and built your budget around. And now these bonus checks, if you will, that come through 4 to 5 months out of the year, we can now use those as lump sum contributions to your financial goals. So let's take a look at 4 areas where you could apply these extra paychecks and the order that you should consider applying them. The first place you're going to want to apply your extra paycheck would be your emergency fund. Of course, we want to make sure that we've got a nice lump sum amount set aside in a high yield savings account that is there for emergencies. It's also going to help make sure that we're no longer living paycheck to paycheck. That is going to set the foundational financial security that you need in order to be able to continue on and feel less stressed about moving forward on your financial journey. So if you don't have an emergency fund yet, or you don't have at least 1 month of your monthly expenses saved, then that is where you're going to want to put your entire extra paycheck. And after 2 months of doing that, you're going to have 1 month of savings in the bag and ready to go so that you can move on to the next step. Once you have 1 month saved in your emergency fund, then you can look at any high interest debt that you have. I did a whole video outlining what is considered high interest debt and when you should decide to prioritize debt over your retirement. And in that video, I determined that 6.9% interest is that threshold that turns debt from low interest to high interest. So any debt that you have that has an interest rate of 6.9% or above, then that is going to be considered high interest debt, and you're going to want to pay that off as fast as possible. So if your current budget does not have any extra funds to allocate towards high interest debt, then you're going to want to use these extra paychecks to put towards the high interest debt to help pay it off faster. If you are already allocating money towards your high interest debt, then you have a little more wiggle room with what to do. You can choose to take your paychecks and apply it to the high interest debt to continue to pay it off as fast as possible, or you can maybe split the amount and you put half towards the debt and the other half towards the next account we're going to talk about, or you can save the extra paychecks for the next account that we're about to talk about. That is really going to be up to you. It depends on how much money you're applying towards the high interest debt already and what these payoff dates are looking like, as well as how much interest you can save by applying the extra paychecks versus just continuing down the path you are already on. So that brings us to our third option, which is to apply your check to your retirement savings. Now, I've already done a video where I go very detailed into what order you should prioritize which type of retirement savings account. So make sure that you watch that so that you can know how to apply your funds properly for the most tax advantaged savings plan. But just know that if you don't have any debt, or you're already applying extra money towards your debt, or you decide to split your check half to debt and half to retirement, or put your whole check towards retirement, then there is an order of operations that you can follow to make sure that you're maximizing your tax advantaged accounts in the order that you should be doing so. Coming in at number 4 is your sinking fund. Once you've made sure that your emergency fund, your debt payoff plan, and your retirement savings are all in order, then you can apply your extra paychecks to any sinking funds that you have. A sinking fund is a savings account that you would have for maybe saving for a vacation or a new car, saving for a down payment on a house, anything that doesn't apply to, your emergency fund or retirement savings or anything like that. So it's a short-term savings plan that you have for a big purchase item or event that wouldn't normally fit in your budget. So remember, your financial game plan is your financial game plan, and it's going to be unique and different from someone else's. These are general guidelines and just a starting point. It's a launching pad for you to be able to start to build your own financial journey and the path that you want to follow. The key things to take away here is that in your journey to financial independence, you want to make sure that you are prioritizing building up an emergency fund, paying off your high interest debt, and saving for retirement. When you are doing these 3 things, then you are setting yourself up for financial success. So don't get too caught up in the nitty gritty or the super details, because your details are going to look different from someone else's details. From where you live to the income that you make to how often you're paid, what your responsibilities are. These are all going to play a role in how you're able to design your financial independence journey. So just know that if you take care and focus on these 3 high-level things, then you are going to be on the right path. So hopefully this was a helpful video. I know that there's a lot of chatter out there on social media about getting a side hustle, making extra money, starting a business, this, that, and the other, but not everybody can do that. And for some of us, we can only utilize the one job and the one income that we have to try to get ahead. And so I wanted to be able to provide this video as a way to just show you how you can use the one income you have to help get you ahead. So let me know in the comments below if this video was helpful for you. If you aren't already, make sure to subscribe and follow so that you can stay on top of the financial education that I bring your way every single week. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next Monday.